This is Straight Talk with Atlanta native Fann, the Preacher Man, and his sidekick Shannon Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fann, the Preacher Man.
Well, welcome to another edition of Straight Talk. We're on our new set, Shannon and I. Boy, we're glad that you're joining us right here on Straight Talk today. Hey, Shannon, how you doing, man?
Looking around, man. It's a nice set. Pay me a little bit more, man. Look like it's good money running around here, man. You know, man, I'm so happy to be back.
Yeah, man.
I want to thank Bishop Lackey.
Yeah, thank him. He really defended you.
Lackey,
he defended you.
I mean,
he defended you.
With dignity.
Yeah. He did.
And just gave me a healthy sense of somebody.
Yeah.
Because, you know, sometimes, you know, when you sit in this chair right here, you get run down. You know?
Really?
But he
who would run you down? Your girth. Now, you know your girth.
There we go. But I really want to thank him, man, because, you know, he stood in there, he defended me, and, you know, I appreciate his friendship because he did it and you wouldn't. So I'm thankful.
You know, I always defend you. I won't let anybody. Let me tell you something. I won't let anybody else say. I won't let anybody else say anything about you. Nobody. Nobody can say anything about Shannon.
I appreciate you, man.
Nobody can say anything about Shannon.
But that's great around here.
It does. And you know, I tell you, I'm sorry for the loss of Claudia's grandmother, and so I know you got to get out of here. But I've been telling people you've been really, really busy, though. You've been on a lot of things these last few weeks, and now the loss of her grandmother, and you've been dealing with that, and so you're certainly in our prayers.
Thank you so
much.
You know what I learned?
What's that?
Thank you for that. Busy doesn't necessarily mean paid, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Because I'd be busy, and Georgia Power call and the water company and everything. I'm like, I'm busy. You know, they say we can't cash no busy.
Let me tell you.
I'm out here fighting for the people.
Yes,
we need that money.
A friend of mine, the late Jerry Thompson, who trained me in radio pretty much. Jerry did at WYG Radio, and co-host with me on a New Looking Gospel. Jerry told me this story years ago, where the phone company used to call you and tell you your bill is due and what have you. And so he said, got a call from the phone company, and they told him that his bill was due, and he told them, well, I ain't got no money to pay y'all. And he said, well, you got to pay Mr. Thompson. I ain't got no money. He said, well, Mr. Thompson, if you don't pay, we're going to call your phone. I ain't got no, didn't you hear me say I ain't got no money? And then he started hearing, hello. The phone was cut off. Hey, boy, I'm telling you now, you got to have that show.
They just cut them off
right there.
They didn't give no time to think about it.
No, sir. You ain't got no money. We ain't got no conversation.
So we got to find a way to be busy for the people. But you know, it's rough. I've learned that.
Well, you know, we got a great show. We got a great show today. Great show today, as always, and glad for your return, and glad for Mike Ryan leaving.
Can we say that again? I posted when I saw that, I said, hallelujah, and what the heck? Who is this other guy they brought in? But 2 years, maybe we can get somebody.
Well, you know, and that I think that's the scheme, is bring him in, see what he do for 2 years, give him a 2-year shot. You know, we can wait, come up and get us a quarterback in the third year, and try to turn things around for the Falcons. You know, I'm not a Falcons fan, but I'm a sports enthusiast, and because I'm still a fan, and we got the same issue. We got to find us a quarterback, and they're not even looking for one. Look like they're gonna let Rudolph take the ham with the Steelers. But you know, we can talk sports. We can talk about a lot of things here on Straight Talk. But listen, today this program we're going to be dealing with. We got the Solicitor General who's going to join us, who's doing his restorative justice program. Keith is doing a wonderful job with that and trying to give people a second chance and an opportunity for employment. And then on the other hand, we got Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, who is being confirmed or being listened to, so they will confirm
being
you.
grilled.
I didn't want to really get that ugly with Lindsey Graham and some of those other Republicans, how they're doing her in a Senate hearing to become the judge or the Supreme Court judge. But we'll hear from her and our Georgia senator who is on the committee, John Ossoff, and his questioning of her. And we'll be back and we'll talk a little bit more right here on Straight Talk with yours to the great fan, the preacher man, and Shannon E. Jones. And don't forget, share us, make comments, and like us. Share, make comments, and like us. We'll be back right here on the other side after Miss C and Straight Talk News. Hey, Miss C.
Hey, Miss C. Good to be back with you.
Hi, Miss C here with your 3-minute or more news blast. I want to say hello to Pastor Greg Fann and hello to Pastor Shannon Jones. Before we begin, I want to send condolences to Pastor Shannon Jones and his wife in the passing of his wife's grandmother. Grandmothers are always special. My grandmother was so special. She raised me, and I miss her every day. And I hope that you would enjoy the memories that you have of her, because I know she was special. Also want to send condolences to a family of a church member of mine, the family of Rebe Amos, who passed just recently. Rebe was such a jewel. She was a very kind and compassionate person. She called me all the time when my husband passed a couple of years ago and I had COVID. And she helped me out a lot. We were in the same organization at church, and she would help me. She was the secretary, and when I became secretary, she still helped me out. You know, she was just a jewel. And I want to say to her husband and her son that she was loved by all of us at Flipper and in our organization, as I know you loved her, and she will be missed. But her memory will live on. Her spirit, her kind, compassionate spirit will live on. Also want to send condolences to the family of Sean Pace. Sean Pace was a fabulous gospel singer. She was a Stella Award winner and an evangelist, and she made several trips. I saw her in person at the radio station where I used to work, WYZE, and she was just a great person. And I know she will be missed also. She had a voice of an angel. All right. Okay, let's get started. I got some news for you. Bible study is held every Wednesday at 7 p.m. at Free Spirit Ministries. That's 7880 Wood Road in Fairburn, Georgia, with the pastor, Dale Foster. You can call 770-964-5515 or log on to their website at www.fscwc.org for any other information. That's on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Okay. The South Fulton Ministerial Alliance will hold a prayer breakfast with special guest speaker Marvin Arrington Jr. That's going to be on April the 10th from 10 a.m. until noon. The special breakfast will be held at Enon Baptist Church, 3550 Enon Road in Atlanta, and it's free. You can call 404-756-7546 to get more details. The men of Flipper Temple AME Church, they're concluding the celebration of Men's Day with a discussion on men's mental health. That's important. That's on March 30th, 7:30 p.m. Join us virtually on Zoom, and it's going to be presented by, and I hope I don't mess up his name, Dr. Mankungu Akanyala, okay? Now, this is a Zoom discussion. You can call our church to get the Zoom link at 404-522-5020. That's 404-522-5020. The pastor's Reverend Gregory Bond Eason Sr. Okay, now there's a little button on your screen that says subscribe. Would you just punch that little button and subscribe to us if you haven't already done so? And also like us too. We would really like that. And it really helps us out a lot. And listen, I wore my Booker T. Washington High School T-shirt just for you today, and actually I wore it so I could rib Greg a little bit. Greg, do you have a Booker T. Washington High School T-shirt? Huh? What'd you say? We'll see y'all next time.
The upcoming event is our Spring Clean record restriction, where as we move toward the spring, we know that employers are hiring more as we move through spring and summer. And this is another opportunity around second chances and restorative justice. And we're looking forward to partnering with Historic Ebenezer, the Temple, the Georgia Justice Project, and the Atlanta North Georgia Labor Council. We'll also be engaged in voter registration, job opportunities, and a meaningful community-minded event.
Oftentimes as a prosecutor or as an attorney, you're on the front end when something bad has happened. But now we get to see the aftermath, and we can see how people can benefit from a second chance, and we can really help them overcome the hurdles and the barriers that sometimes the criminal justice system imposes on people. And it can help them get a job, it can help them get housing, and it can really have a positive impact on their lives.
Restricting someone's record is an opportunity that we are giving them to get a job, go to school, and continue with their lives, and that's what motivates me.
Last year, we were able to process and close about 91% of our applicants. We were able to restrict and help more than one person per day if you look at our statistics. This year alone, we have had even more success. We have been able to process and restrict over 100 people's records alone in the first 6 weeks of 2022.
All of the statistics and studies show us that when people have meaningful, gainful employment at a fair rate of pay, that they are much more less likely to recidivize and reoffend.
You have heard from the Fulton County Solicitor General Restorative Justice Team. Please register now for our Spring Clean April 2nd record restriction event. Registration is open now at fultonrestorativejustice.org or call us at 404-612-4827. I am Sierra Bickerstaff, the Chief of Staff to the Solicitor General Keith Gamage.
Well, thank you, Miss C. Thank you, Miss C.
C.
What Miss C? I tell you, Miss C does a wonderful job.
She does.
She really do. You know, I like to mess with Miss C. She like to mess with me. We both went to Wharton High. We went to Wharton High. Greg, you see? Yeah, I see. Do you have one? No, I got more than one. I got a band sweater. I have a letter for playing in soccer, and I have several T-shirts.
You played soccer?
Yeah.
For Washington?
Boy, now the captain of the soccer team. I was the captain of the soccer team.
Miss C, I want to thank you for your condolence. Thank you for your heartfelt condolences with me. I came with him. Thank you so much. You were on the soccer team?
I was on the soccer team. I was the first year in 1969 when Washington High started playing soccer. And I was the captain of the soccer team. Again? We played against Drexel. We played as in Dykes. We played Turner High School. Turner had a soccer team at that time. Mm-hmm. They started. It was the first year.
The soccer team?
I don't know. The coach that we had at that time, he was Coach Gamble. He started the soccer team.
Interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I played soccer.
See you out there kicking the ball around. You had pretty good footwork?
I had footwork, and I was fast. I was fast.
I got a little cousin, man. She's out in Fayette County.
Yeah.
Ooh, she's going pro.
Oh yeah.
Oh, she's awesome.
She's awesome. At the time when I was playing Pele. Pele was the star of the soccer at that time when I started playing soccer. Pele, yeah.
Man,
Pele.
I met him in Boston. Mm-hmm. Man, I didn't know, because we didn't grow up playing soccer.
Right.
So I went to Boston for college. Right. And you got all these Caribbean people. So I went with the Caribbean students. They said, Pele is going to be at And I'm like, well, I'm going to see Payless. I didn't know what I was saying.
I said,
we're going to see Payless at the mall. I didn't know nothing about that, but we can do a little better than Payless, though. We can at least go to Foot Locker. No, we're going to Payless. Man, I got there, man, the mall was jammed. You would have thought Michael Jackson or Michael Jordan was there. I mean, I guess he was for them. Man, Brazilian people, European people, Africans. Man, it was ridiculous. And I said, man, that's Payless.
That's Payless.
I had never heard of it.
Yeah,
I mean, because I just didn't.
Yeah, but I tell you, but I did play. I played soccer and, of course, played in the band. But anyway, thank you, Miss C, for your church news, or for your news and for information and all that you do, and your views and your opinion, and the condolences to that you have expressed for those who have lost loved ones. Thank you. But we want to talk about Brother Gamage. Brother Gamage, I tell you, he has, as our Solicitor General, he has done a magnificent job. When he ran for office, he said that he was going to deal with giving people a second chance. He has lived true to that. He has hired a young lady as his chief of staff, and she's doing a great job along with his other deputies. He's got them into running the program, and thank the union. The union is offering, Sandra Williams, who's the executive director for the Atlanta North Georgia Labor Council, and all of the labor leaders for working with the solicitors and the churches that are working with the solicitors to provide opportunities for people to get jobs and get a second chance.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so
Keith is a great brother.
He is.
And, he's true to he shows that the gospel works and that the system works if those who are within the system are willing to really help people to rehabilitate. And so I'm just so happy about Keith and everything that he does. He's a great friend, great community leader, and he's true to his word.
True to his word.
And we know that the future is very bright for Keith Gamage. We need more Keith Gamages as elected officials.
We do. You know, what you're saying that, and this is election season, people will be very careful and leery of the people that they elected. If you're re-electing someone who's been elected, have they done what they said they were going to do, like Brother Gamage? I mean, are they doing it, or are they just talking about it and in your face when it's time to run, and you don't see them when it's not time to run? Excuse me. But we need to pay attention to these people. Are these people really helping, or are they really hurting? Mm-hmm. So on that note, we're going to talk about and now hear from our Senator, John Ossoff, and he is in the Senate hearing for confirmation of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. And as he's questioning her about what kind of justice she will be. She's been under attack by many of those senators during this confirmation hearing.
Yeah. Many
of them. Lindsey Graham went off the grid. Some others have gone off the grid. Not as much as him, but he went way, way off the grid. And he was one of the ones who voted to confirm her in her last appointment.
Measure your faith.
Yeah.
Measure your faith. How do you? What is your level of faith? How would you grade your faith? And then he admitted he goes to church twice a year.
Help me, Jesus. Well, we're not going to hear that Senate confirmation hearing, and our Senator, John Ossoff, questioning Ms. Jackson. We'll be back on the other side.
Has been widely cited, made the observation that presidents are not kings. What does that mean, and what are some of the most important bulwarks in our constitutional system against the abuse of executive power, against tyranny?
Thank you, Senator. Our constitutional scheme, the design of our government, is erected to prevent tyranny. The framers decided, after experiencing monarchy, tyranny, and the like, that they were going to create a government that would split the powers of a monarch in several different ways. One was federalism. It was vertical. They would split the powers between the federal government and states. Another was to prevent the federal government from itself becoming too powerful, from having all of the authorities, from having legislative, executive, and judicial authority concentrated in one place. So the Constitution, in its design, puts the legislative authority in Article 1 and gives it to the Congress, the power to make laws. It puts the executive authority in Article 2 and gives it to the president, the power to execute the laws. And it puts the judicial authority, the power to interpret the laws, in Article 3 and gives it to the court. The separation of powers is crucial to liberty. It is what our country is founded on, and it's important, as consistent with my judicial methodology, for each branch to operate within their own sphere. That means for me that judges can't make law. Judges shouldn't be policymakers. That's a part of our constitutional design, and it prevents our government from being too powerful and encroaching on individual liberty.
Thank you, Judge. I mentioned in my opening remarks that the court has played a vital role, constrained within its proper constitutional boundaries, in the national process of making America in real life what America is in text. And reflecting on your experience as a public defender, a vital role in our justice system, let's talk a little bit about the Sixth Amendment and the role that the court played in ensuring that the Sixth Amendment is real in practice in the Gideon v. Wainwright decision. Can you help all those who are tuned in right now to reflect upon that decision, what it means, what it says about the role of the court?
Yes, Senator. Prior to Gideon versus Wainwright, people who could not afford lawyers were not entitled to lawyers under our system. So a person could be accused by the government of criminal behavior and would have to fend for themselves in court. They would have to make their own arguments. Someone who is not a lawyer would still be responsible for defending him or herself in front of a judge if the government brought charges. Earl Gideon was a criminal defendant from Florida, my home state, who had a handwritten petition. He complained that it wasn't fair under our constitutional scheme that protects and requires people to be tried. He said, I need help. I'm not a lawyer. I can't make these arguments. I think it's important for the protection of liberty to ensure that people are able to have counsel. And that handwritten petition made its way to the Supreme Court. And the justices read it, and they determined to take his case, and in the end decided that the protections of the Sixth Amendment, the right to trial, includes the right to appointed counsel, so that everybody who is accused of criminal behavior now has the right to an attorney. And that's very important. I mean, one of the things that I see or saw as a trial judge is that it was crucial for our justice system to have representation from both sides. It was the only way that it is the only way that a judge can really make fair determinations. And in cases, we've heard a lot about my criminal cases. In every case, I'm getting, as a judge, arguments from the prosecution. I'm getting arguments from the defense counsel. I'm getting arguments or statements from probation in these criminal cases. And the work of a judge is to look at the facts and circumstances, hear the arguments of the parties, apply the law, and make a fair determination. And so having lawyers for criminal defendants aids in that process and benefits us all in our criminal justice system.
I would just take the opportunity to note at this time, Judge Jackson, that it so happens that the Southern District of Georgia is one of just 3 federal districts without a federal defender's office, and I've offered legislation to establish one, and I'll be seeking support from my Republican colleagues to try to make that bipartisan to ensure there is access to counsel for defendants.
Well, Shannon, I tell you, that was, the senator said something that I think that was most profound when he talked about the Constitution in terms of the tyranny, the power of a president, and how she would look at that from a constitutional standpoint, the First Amendment, and then the right to representation. Well, many people did not. She explained to how that came into existence, how people are now allowed to have free representation so that they would be a fair ground for people who did not have the money to pay for a lawyer, but a lawyer would be afforded them because they can't defend themselves in a court. And the other thing, his last salient point, I think, was very important, and I didn't know this. I don't know if you knew it. Well, we don't know enough about what's going on in the courts anyway, but to find out that we don't even have that kind of system or judge or lawyers here in the federal court that will represent defendants that stand before a federal judge on serious accusation that they're not afforded an attorney in Georgia.
Look, I think she's, first of all, I think Ossoff did a wonderful job allowing her to really interject her views and to see what type of justice, because that's what the hearing is for.
Right.
Not what books are on the shelves of organizations that she's on the board of, or or measuring her faith, or asking her about critical race theory and all of these things that have nothing to do with in terms of the purview of what she's going to be doing as a sitting Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. We got a chance because of Ossoff, and we got a chance to hear her views, and I think that was wonderful. Another great moment, I think, was Cory Booker when he talked about the fact that, and she teared up a bit there, when he just kind of humanized it and let it be known that that she's in that seat and that she deserves to be in that seat. And Lindsey Graham knows that, because as you just said, he confirmed her
the last time.
I think it was last summer.
Right, it was.
And to be a federal public defender,
right,
is an awesome testimony of the kind of heart that she has, and it also speaks to the kind of confidence that she has in the law, because she had to defend those who attacked this country. And Graham let it be known, well, I just hope that they I hope they all die, this, that, and the other. They can die in jail for all I care. Well, see, when you have those kind of views, then you step outside of what makes America America.
Right.
And you step outside of understanding our legal system and how it gives everybody
an opportunity,
the rights and the opportunities to have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that should never be taken away. And these amendments are very extremely important. And to have a sitting United States Senator say some of the things that was said there, it really begs me to question, how do you really view our nation of law?
Well, let's just deal with this. Character. Let's get back to the basics. Character. There's a character flaw there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a character flaw there. So let's just call it what it is. There's a character flaw. You're looking at a black woman who's obviously very intelligent.
Extremely.
And a black woman who judges from constitutionality and understand there is some discretion that they can use or she can use under certain situations, and she has used that discretion as the best she could, in a fair and equitable manner as she saw it, right? Now let's look at this. Even though they were raising this thing about those cases that she was letting people giving less sentences, neither one of those cases did they say that those people who were predators or pedophiles or whatever, neither one of those cases did they insinuate that she was doing it because they were black. Neither one of those cases, because if they wanted to be just true to it, she was being fair, judging people based upon the fact that were before her and presented before her at that time, right? If we look at the Bible, we look at the Apostle Paul and what happened to Paul and how many times they persecuted Paul and came after Paul and tried to get Paul put in jail or killed, even to in chapter 22 when he talks about when he went back to Jerusalem and how they treated him after they had given him instruction to do what he went and did, and then turned around, and because the crowd was mad about what he had done, then they wanted to put him in jail. And later, and you know the scripture, because the Roman commander had wanted to put Paul in jail, and because of the accusation they were making or the noise that they were making about it, not accusation, because they made no accusation, just a lot of noise. Right. So now here's Paul standing up there, and they going to put him in jail. Then the commander said, beat him, flogged him, and Paul says, hey, listen, is it legal to beat and flog a Roman citizen? And then the commander had to say, "Oh, you're wrong. Sure, you're a Roman citizen. Yeah."
He had to inject his citizenship.
So then the commander had to back all the way back and then do an investigation as opposed to acting on what the crowd was doing. You right? So I mean, this lady sitting there listening to the facts. You're not in that courtroom. Right. You making a conjecture based on what you think, a theory that should have happened based on what, because every situation is different. And that's what she was saying. Basically, every case is different. And judges have discretion when they're sitting on that bench.
Absolutely. Lion Ted was just trying to get, and Senator Sass let it be known, and he's a Republican.
Right.
Former college president. He said that you got a lot of these, this craziness is going on. People are grandstanding to get their spot on the evening news, and that's what we've been reduced to.
Right.
I mean, let me just say, so Madeleine Albright, the first female, a lot happening for women's history. First female United States Secretary of State,
right,
under the Clinton administration, died this week.
Oh man!
And she was, when Clinton sent her up, she's a former refugee, came to America at 11 years old. The system worked for her. She rose to the level of being the United States ambassador to the United Nations. And then from there to the first female Secretary of State of the United States of America. She was confirmed by 99% of the United States Senate. In other words, there was a time when, well, there's always been a time where there's been the grandstanding and whatnot, but there have been times when we've been able to put this stuff on the shelf and just really get on with
the business
of providing for the executive, providing for the legislative, and providing for the judicial.
Right.
And today she wouldn't have been confirmed by 99% because 20% of them would have been trying to play to their base. And that's really what, I mean, when we look at this from a common sense standpoint, the unfortunate thing is that everybody's playing to their base.
Right.
The problem with playing to your base is that all too often you're playing down to your base as opposed to lifting your base up to a greater understanding of what the Constitution says and who we all are as Americans. Now, we have different views. The Constitution says that we're going to have different views because, that's a democracy.
Right.
But the reality of it is that we also are a system a nation of laws, and we can't bend those laws based on our views.
To satisfy ourselves.
Right.
But that's why when she broke that down, when he asked, that was one of the first questions he asked her, and she broke down this whole thing in terms of the different branches and the Constitution, why the Constitution was enacted in the first place, because they had just come out from under monarchy.
That's right.
And they set up this government to function the way it's functioning, should be functioning. But now, as you said, people are more apt to try to get their face and on the news and to excite a base on lies and deception. And it's time out for that. And Judge Jackson is really very intelligent again. She's very matter of fact, and she is composed.
Very composed.
She's very composed.
We need to come across that desk.
Oh well, she's composed because she sits on the bench, and sitting on the bench, you need to have a judge that put their personal feelings out of it, can deal with the personal attacks, but also look at the facts. What's really the real deal here, and mete out fair judgment as best they can based on what's presented before them. So I applaud her. I look forward to her being confirmed, and thank you for her allowing herself for service, and thank President Biden for even appointing her, offering to appoint her to that position as being the first black female justice in this country. Well, thank you, Shannon, for your views and opinion. And we always talk straight right here on Straight Talk, and I'm glad to have you today. I know you got to get out of here.
Thank you for letting me come back.
Well, I didn't let you come back.
Because Greg Fann, y'all seen it. I mean, he could just make you disappear. It's no wonder why it's Greg Fann, the preacher man, and Shannon Jones. I mean, because if he won't lock you in the seat, whoever he won't, I'm just hanging on by a thin thread here, man, and I'm so happy that he allowed me to come back, and I hope I didn't say anything get me kicked off next week.
Well, if you're off next week, that's because you took off. If you're off, that's because you took off.
I mean, if that happened 1 week, 3 weeks?
Yeah, you busy.
3 weeks, that's a lot of business.
I can't help it. That's your life.
I mean, he can just, Greg Fann, the preacher man.
Yeah, right. That's me.
And I just be gone.
That's me.
If you see Lackey, you go back and look at the tape, you see Lackey next week. Evidently, I said something on air, off air, that got me out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, muchachos, senoritas, Miguel, Jose, Juan, and all of you guys. And I wanted to let you know, that this is nothing but Straight Talk with yours, Greg Fann, the preacher man, and Shannon Jones. Like us, make comments, and share with your Facebook friend, and do subscribe to the channel here on right here on YouTube with yours truly, Greg Fann, the preacher man, and Shannon Jones. And Shannon E. Jones. But listen, until next week, we wish you Godspeed and God bless. And again, you can email us at Straight Talk. That's Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com, and do the thumb up, like us. You've been in tune to nothing but what? Straight Talk.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fann at FANN922 at Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shannon Jones and Greg Fann, the Preacher Man.